Well, hello there, everyone. Sorry about the jittery camera here, but Daryl Black from Exigent. I wanted to hop on to Facebook Live here and just kind of tell you a little bit about what we're up to this week. And it kind of sparked me to share a pretty important leadership lesson or reminder for everyone. So for those of you that have worked with us in the past, you know that our programs, the Point of the Spear, the L380 is, kind of the old, it's the standard of Point of the Spear courses that include fire line leadership, fire service leadership, leading emergency responders, and beyond the badge for law enforcement. This week, we are so excited to be in Fort Smith NWT with our friends and partners, the NWT Environment and Natural Resources Department, specifically the wildland fire folks. So we have a lot going on behind the scenes when we run these types of programs, a lot of moving parts to it. And as we started the day today, we started our program on Monday afternoon, but there's an awful lot of prep that goes into that. And there's always three of us, three cadre members. And so I wanted to kind of show you a little bit behind the scenes of what goes into a program like this. And I want to also impart a bit of knowledge that came from today, and it was a really good reminder, particularly for those of you in the wildland fire community. So, our classroom, we typically run with, maximum of 24. So here you see the classroom. Certainly nothing spectacular apart from the fact that we put them into groups because we're huge advocates of a lot of conversation, a lot of discussion. And so if I just walk into the back here of the room, we have a glimpse of some of the handouts, of which there's quite a few, so try to get that in there. And, throughout the course of the week, we talk about topics around leadership credibility, how do we influence others, different leadership styles, stress management, conflict resolution, those sorts of things, all tailored to the high-risk environment in particular. But what I want to really pay attention to or draw your attention to is an exercise that we did a little bit earlier today around leadership credibility. And the question we asked the participants is, what is, looking back through your careers, whether it be in fire or whatever that environment might look like, what kind of behaviors led to credibility in leadership? And I wanted to remind you this because if you're watching this, chances are you are one of our partners, one of our clients. And I can say with a great deal of empathy and accuracy that, a lot of you faced a very, very difficult season last year, particularly BC, Parks Canada, in the United States, across North America. And I just wanted to hop on here and remind you of some of the behaviors that really lend themselves to being a credible leader, because as you start this season off again, I can say again with a lot of confidence, I know you're tired. I know that you didn't feel like you had a winter. I know that you're burned out. I know that there is a lot of stress involved in coming back, whereas in the past, you've been very anxious to come back. You've been excited. You've done your trips in the winter, whatever the case is. So you're tired, but if you're a leader, unfortunately, it's a burden of leadership whereby you have to be consistently and constantly reinforcing what right looks like in terms of leadership. So I want to share with you some results of an exercise that we did earlier today, and 4 groups did it, but I'll just share the examples of one group in particular, and it will serve as a reminder for you as you go back into this fire season, particularly in the wildland fire. Of course, this pertains to any other high-risk environment that we work with, but I just want to really highlight and remind you what leadership looks like in a high-risk environment. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this properly, but let's see here. Can I do that? No, it's probably backwards, isn't it? Oh, well. All right, so I will just read them off. So the exercise, this group number 3, table 3, they came up with leadership qualities around What builds credibility in a leader? And I'm going to go through these because they're a really important reminder, and they're very indicative of what we see in our experience, both facilitating these programs, sent thousands and thousands of people through them, but also from our own personal experience as operators continuing to do this job. So a leader that is effective is one that's knowledgeable. They are well respected by their followers. They have a great deal of trust in their team. They exercise good judgment. They're a really good teacher. That's interesting. So a teacher, they're a good mentor. They're calm under stress. They are an open communicator, and throughout the week I'll continue to, I'll do some Facebook Lives and talk about the open communication, really what it looks like, because it's easy to say, but it's really, really difficult to do. Easy to work with. They're confident, but not arrogant. They know their personal strengths and weaknesses. So as you start this fire season, being tired, being burned out, being anxious, all of those types of things, do an inventory on yourself. Figure out truly where you are in terms of those types of things. Are you going into the season already at a stress level that's fairly high? Because if you are, then recognize that, and there are some things that you can do to mitigate that. Recognize the strengths and weaknesses of the team. So those are just some examples. We have another, 3 examples, but I want to share this with you as a reminder and recognize that we thank you for what you're doing. We know it's tough. We know it was a shitty year last year from a, operational tempo perspective, but, keep being safe, keep being a good leader, and you'll be hearing from us throughout the week here as we're enjoying a fantastic week in Fort Smith with the folks from Environment and Natural Resources. Thanks for watching.